boys!
Welcome to the first episode. I'm Matt Persley, multi-time motorcycle rider. And we got Terry Meyer, the king of the comebacks. How you feeling these days?
I'm feeling good. They tried to kill me, about 4 times.
I was going to say, which time was that? Is this
This year.
Gotcha.
This year I had a couple, I had 2 blood clots go to my brain, which caused, I have 2 strokes. And from there, it's been a long recovery, but I may be a little slow, spit on myself, but really
That sounds pretty par for the course for as long as I've known you.
And I really don't care. This is for entertainment purposes only.
There you go.
I am not suicidal.
You didn't kill yourself.
I didn't kill myself.
Right on. So you've been on a lot of ventures. You made movies. You started magazines, motocross track, and now this. So, like me and you were talking a lot about it before your stroke, and then after the stroke, it kind of fell by the wayside a little bit. Not nearly as far as somebody would think, for a guy that just had a stroke. So, as a podcast, is that something you always kind of wanted to get into, or just?
I think that we always talked about it, but instead of being involved with social media, we always wanted to take ourselves off of social media because we made movies a long time ago. We've always been into it, but today's society's freakishly crazy, so I kind of feel like we had to do it just to kind of
break it up a little bit,
kind of show people that this is how motocross maybe used to be and more real, and I know you got some stories, to go along with that.
Yeah. So you're talking about your movies. So what were the name of the movies that you did? How many did you do?
Oh, we did Fat One, The Adventures of Poor White Boy, and then we did Fat Two, Soldiers, Disciples, and something.
What was the one that you did? It would have been the early 2000s. There was a lot of the Supermoto footage in
That's the story. Me and Kyle, we did 2. We did some 1, we did 2, and we did all 3 together. And that's a good one. That's where we can really show people what it's like to race.
I remember there was a lot of war. See, how many dead bodies were?
Oh, I don't know. I thought you were talking about you and Dave Pingree.
Oh my God! Is that how we're gonna start this evening off? We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been riding motorcycles your entire life. From about what age did you start? Start from the beginning.
I started at 8, and I was never. We always. My dad was big into the 6 days. So when I was younger, I grew up around that. But at 8, I started racing little. And he wouldn't let me race no motocross, but...
off-road stuff only?
Yeah, off-road only. And even though my neighbors were Tommy and Jimmy Davis, and they had the trickiest fucking bikes, the hottest sisters.
So what year would this have been?
Back in 78, 76 maybe. And there's an acre between our houses. We're up on hills, and there was an acre there, and they had a motocross track. My dad said, "Watch, you ain't fucking jumping." So, yeah.
So then, okay, so 8 years old, you started riding, and then, like, about what was your first race? Was it an off-road race? I would imagine.
Yeah, it was just a hare scramble, I think, at Otterville, and raced some other places.
Was that MVR in
Yes.
White City?
No, that was MVR.
Oh no, not White City.
That was
okay.
MVR. Then there was White City also,
Right.
and that's where I grew up racing.
So that's where my dad he raced a lot at MVR, 75, 76. You guys were probably out there at the same time.
Yeah.
Your dad was into some drag racing cars too, wasn't he?
Yep. He did that right up until, I don't think people understand, motorcycle racing and riding is really not that old. It was 69 or 70 when my dad got into, he quit racing cars, had fallen out with Ford, and hell, his buddies had Honda Scramblers. They're buying fucking.
And this was like the time when people, like, you could really only get like a street bike really and put knobbies on it.
TS 185. They raced them for a few years. My dad and all his friends, and they're fucking crazy.
So when did you guys get hooked up with the Kaplingers? Was that pretty early on?
Yeah, that was early on, man.
Bob's a good dude today, isn't he?
Incredible. That's an incredible family, period. I was thinking about them earlier, and they lived here, and the Noodles lived up here. If anybody knows the Kaplingers, Timmy knew right when I quit. I think Timmy Newell won for a couple years, and then Chris Kaplinger came along and dominated for a while, and that was like 80. I did one race in 85, and then I was done for a while.
So, and I know Chris lived in, like, was it North County in St. Louis? Were you
in Delwood?
Yeah, were you in Delwood also, or were you in Illinois?
No, I lived in Illinois, and I used to go spend the night either at their house or at the Newells. And fucking John Mack lived right in. He lived in that neighborhood too, man. It was a small world back then, Rotary phone, no fucking no bullshit. My dad's first question to Linda would be, did he offer to do the dishes? And I swear to God, I'd never forget. I don't want to get my ass beat,
So, okay, you remember Todd Capstick?
Yeah.
Where was he from? Was he around that area?
I remember him, but I wasn't real.
Well, the reason I ask is because you mentioned John Mack, and John Mack was quite the jokester. And so Todd's dad owned a monument company, like they made headstones and everything. So, like in the winter, John Mack would either drive his car through Terry's, it was his dad's name, right? Terry Capstick? It is. And he'd run through the snowman. And so, one time he built a snowman around his front yard light pole. And John got out of his car and, like, body slammed this thing, like, or open field tackled it, I think he, like, dislocated his shoulder or something, but John Mack's stories are always entertaining.
Long time friend.
So then, what year did you move out to Kansas City then?
I was in Texas.
Were you in Texas first? Or
Yeah, I was in Texas first. Then we had the chance to move to Kansas City, and the chick I was with, we're moving to Kansas City together, getting paid, I said, look, I said, I don't fucking care. Just get us a house next to a motorcycle shop, maybe 20 minutes away from the General Motors, and like.
And this was in Kansas City.
In Kansas City and somewhere by a lake. So it just turned out she went, got us a house by Strauss Power Sports, and that's a whole nother, episode, because we spent a lot of time in Texas, but,
Yeah.
I forget what year we had met.
Who's that now? The Strouds or
Me and you.
Oh, 1996, and I can remember that like it was yesterday. It was the first round of the '96 Missouri Hare Scrambles, and that was actually my first year of any sort of like racing. And dude, I remember being in the parking lot, and like everybody just kind of looked the same. Like the Busenbarks were there, and Ken Yount, and
Steve Levain.
Yep, Kaplinger. Everybody was pretty, serious. Chris Thiele. And then there was you with these blonde dreadlocks. Can we call them, I guess?
Yeah.
Frightening. Absolutely frightening. And my buddy Scott Boyer was there. He's like, hey, I met this really cool dude, Terry Meyer. I was like, oh, yeah? And he pointed you out. I was like, no, I'm not talking to that dude. But you were on a, you were on an RM125.
I was on Damon Huffman's Supercross RM125.
I do remember that thing had quite the sound to it.
Fucking
How'd that suspension
fast.
work? It couldn't have been good.
It was amazing. It's weird how Supercross suspension works for a heavier person.
Gotcha.
It works amazing. I rode Carter Stevenson's Yamaha one year, and man, that fucking suspension was dope. Do you remember that guy when I was in Texas? I was with Josh Demuth, but my old friend in the neighborhood, Todd Hewitt, his good friend was a guy that worked for Suzuki. So my first two bikes after not riding for 6 years was Guy Cooper's 125. I mean, it was fucking sick. And I had Denny Stevenson's RM250.
Right on. How'd you acquire Denny Stevenson's? Was he riding for that shop in Texas? Or?
Nah, it was a guy, it was factory Suzuki. And it was like one of their mechanics or something. I don't want to say his name. I don't know if it's cool or not, but
right.
Man, he had we raced one weekend in Texas team race, where the pro class on Brian Swink's 97 RM250.
Dude, that'd be a nice one to have these days.
It was so fucking fast and so stiff. I was like, what the fuck? Because the 125 broke down, I blew it up, but it was a beast. It ran amazing, and yeah, that was definitely a good time.
Right on. All right, so then, like I remember, so I raced the Hare Scrambles from 96 until 99, I think, and then I started just kind of trying some other stuff. I bought a motocross bike and went motocross, and
You were pro though, right?
In
Woods?
Yeah, yep. So, and you know what, that's kind of always been my deal. Like, once I get to a certain point, I could have tried harder. I could have maybe ran or something, but I was just I just felt stagnant,
Ooh.
So then when tried some motocross, that was fantastic. So then I kind of lost track of you up until about 03. Pretty tragic incident happened to you. And then I remember Chris Kaplinger called me. He's like, hey, Terry is wanting to try Supermoto. Do you have a set of wheels? And I had a set of wheels, and I think you had a YZ250
I had a Yamaha Troy, I think I had a Yamaha Troy YZ250. I had one of Josh's old bikes.
Gotcha. So I think you, and I don't think I went to the race. Was it at Peevely the first time you tried Supermoto?
It was at Peevely.
Yeah, and wasn't there for some reason, but then that kind of snowballed into, so then the next time I did see you, you bought one of Nick Daniels, his Honda, the Supermoto bike, and we met up with you in Vegas for that, oh man, I don't remember what the name of it was, but it was a, like...
No, you knew me when I had the KTM.
The Supermoto bike?
Yeah, we went to...
That was after.
Oh, shit, that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me handle the timelines, buddy. My shit's straight.
Okay.
All right. So 03.
My fault.
I don't remember what time of year it was, but like they had, for whatever reason, I think they had a big purse. So I mean, the heaviest of hitters were out there: Mickey Diamond, Jeff Ward, Kurt Nicole,
Doug. Was he there?
He wasn't there.
Not that year.
No, and this was basically just like a local race, if you remember. And then, man, we just had a killer time, and that kind of started the whole thing. Like that whole year, you just burned up the highways going to Supermoto races, and we had a good time.
Mini races. We did for a few years, but we had it came at a weird time, and Chris had reached out to me after my parents were killed. It was like, you don't want to be like tragic and look back on it like, but it was pretty bad. But I don't know, he reached out, and I was like, fuck, man.
Who reached out now?
Chris.
Okay.
So I did that one Supermoto race, and I was just like ready to get out of town,
Right.
And we went to Vegas to that one race, but it was the Amateur National too.
That's what I was talking about. That was kind of out there in the desert, away from the town.
I won that. I got that's that vase over there.
Oh, yep.
I won the Amateur National, and that's what allowed me to get my pro license for it next year.
Gotcha.
When I got that piece of shit KTM.
Dude, that thing was a pile. So, talk about Vegas. So we did a lot of traveling with our mechanic, Warren Wilburn, who's a treat. Just a lovely man. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I loved him.
Best mechanic I ever had in my whole entire life.
So, do you remember when we all drove out to Vegas for the finale? Like, it was the hype behind this race was outrageous.
And to Rio?
At the Rio, yep.
Was Nikki Hayden there?
No, but Ben Bostrom.
Ben Bostrom.
And he won it.
I remember now.
So, you remember we're driving out there, probably not making the healthiest of choices on our way, and we get to Kingman, Arizona, head north, and we get to the what's the name of that dam? The Hoover Dam. Get to the Hoover Dam, and this was shortly after 9/11, when everything was, high security.
Dog shit.
So we get to the dam, and I mean, it was late. It was like 11 o'clock maybe. We've been on the road for 24 plus hours, and there's a checkpoint there, and I'm like, oh my God.
I'm smoking a blunt.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the back, just laid out. Warren's riding up front. Terry's driving. I couldn't see through the windshield for all the pot smoke. And we get to this checkpoint, and Terry's blaring some gangster rap shit. And Warren's like, hey, maybe you should turn the radio down. Nah, Nah. And he gets up to the guy, rolls the window down. It immediately sucks all the pot smoke right into this dude's face. And so he's like, pull the van over there. I just got to open the doors, look in it, make sure you're not going to blow up the dam. We're like, okay, cool. So we were driving my white van, pulling that green High Point trailer. And this thing, there was probably 3 or 4 race bikes, plus pit bikes, generators, power washers, stacks of tires.
50-gallon drums.
It wasn't a 50, I think it was a 30. We
had 2 50s.
No, we couldn't have had that much. Because I'll tell you why. So it was a good size.
I remember pouring one out.
No, we didn't have to pour any out. So anyway, we get, the guy's like, he's like, I want to, gotta just open the doors, let's look in, make sure you're good to go. So he opens the trailer door, couldn't see hardly anything, just for all the tires and gear bags. Then he opens the van, 3 more race bikes. You can only see the tips of the fenders and the backs of the tires.
Yeah.
He goes, no, you can't pack this van like that. And we're like, bro, we've been driving for like over 1,000 miles like this. What do you want us to do? We're almost there. And he just closes the doors and he's like, all right, you cannot take that fuel across the dam. And we're like, I was like, do you want me to dump it out? He's like, no, you can't dump that out. He goes, he's like, I'll make you go back to Kingman and come up through, can't remember what.
God damn.
But I don't remember if it was like Parker or somewhere. And it was like an 8-hour ordeal.
Yeah.
And I was like, please, what can we do to get across this dam? And he goes, anything that holds fuel, empty that drum into anything that will hold fuel. And we're like,
I remember.
Okay. So we got, you remember the stupid pump?
Yeah.
Dude, we're filling up race bikes, the generators, the pit bikes.
I remember it was a lot.
And then we get it empty. We got the trailer loaded back up. I go over, I don't remember, it seemed like it took forever. Maybe it was an hour, 2 hours, maybe somewhere in there. So I go over, I knock on his guard shack. He's like, oh, hey, what's up? I was like, hey, we got this drum emptied if you want to come check everything. I was like, nah, go on ahead. And we're like, we could have just taken a nap.
I know. He was so cool, because when I did roll down the window, he was just like...
Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank our sponsors. We got Stassi's Outdoor Service, Overland Shade Company, Route 15, and the Steel Horse Cowboy.
We'll provide links for some of these guys at the end, and you can check them out. And yeah, so it's
So we left off with we finally get across the dam. And then Nick Daniels, his wife, was getting ready. No, or maybe they just had him. I think she had just had Dallas. He was a few months old.
God, I remember.
And they were flying to all the races.
Yes.
And so we get across, and Nick's like, "Hey, when you get into Vegas, let's meet up and get some dinner." And we're like, "Okay, yeah, that sounds good."
Kyle was with us.
No, it was Warren. Kyle flew in. We hadn't picked him up.
Oh yeah, fuck.
So we go and we meet him. Nick doesn't say anything to us. All he did was run to the back of the van, reached into his gear bag, and pulled out a gigantic bag of weed.
No, he pulled it out the exhaust. Remember?
I thought
he took the exhaust thing out. The end of his exhaust and pulled that fucker out right there.
All I remember thinking is, we just spent 3 hours over some race gas, not knowing we were some wannabe cartel members
That's when
trafficking drugs.
That's when they're like really hard on weed, man. The dude was like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, fuck, But he was, it was good stuff.
Yeah, that was a fun race, eventful.
It was fantastic. I think that's the first time that we and Mike Metzger became like not great friends, but good friends. That's when we went to the strip club a lot, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, we did go a lot.
So that was
the end of 03.
And then 04, is that when I had a KTM?
Yes, and that's when I had moved out to Bakersfield.
Oh, shit, okay. Oh, yeah. I got the KTM, which was dog shit slow. We slept, you had it bad, but...
So I remember, I worked for Scott Hoffman in his magazine, Supermoto Racer magazine. And we had tested a KTM done by that same...
That's it.
Was it Dick's?
Yeah, it was Dick's. I bought the same motorcycle, and Kaplinger bought a stock one, and it was way faster.
And you had Dick's do everything?
$10,000.
Just the same way we tested it. And I got to be honest, the bike that we tested was phenomenal. It was a wonderful motorcycle.
Biggest piece of shit I ever rode. And that's the year that we kind of really traveled a lot. Pastrana was out. Things are different back then. Nobody, because it wasn't on the internet, but nobody taught you or helped you to do anything. There's only one thing my mechanic asked me: is there anything you can do in this Warren that I need to do the bike? And I'd be like, man, and he'd be like, you want me to hit the clickers and adjusters? And I said, yeah. I said, what do you think? What else do you think Warren could say? He'd be like, quit being a pussy and give it the gas. So, pretty much my pro career revolved around give it more gas, you're a fucking pussy.
Pretty much. So we went to, you mentioned Pastrana. The time we were at Copper Mountain, which was a horrible place to have a race. I think the elevation was 10,000 feet. We were at the tree line and, walking upstairs. Anyway, the motorcycles ran like complete dog shit. And we had to rejet them. And even though you might get them jetted perfectly, they still ran terrible.
Dog shit.
I think you were...
2 days, right?
That event, yeah, that was a 2-day event. And I remember the people that were from around there were saying, basically at that elevation you lose 20%, even if your motorcycle is jetted perfectly.
Yeah.
But that was a cool event. Travis Pastrana dang near got his head tore off by Jeff Ward over that little dragon's back.
That place.
You got video of that.
I got video. I don't know if I can get out for this, but I will get it out. And that whole, I didn't make it one day bike blew up and shit, so I videoed it. And Jeff Ward, when I show you the video, you'll freak out because it would have ended Pastrana. And that was all around a wild. You and Pingree had kind of cooled off a little bit.
The Pingree incident hadn't happened yet.
But Nick had got into a Pingree, so I forgot that was late.
Did Nick get it?
That was next year on Honda when I was on Honda.
So
I got we got on video. He's just gonna spit all over the place.
So my Pingree incident happened in
L.A.
Yep, Fontana. It was it May of
Fontana,
May of 06.
Hollywood, L.A.
Lower Arnold. So yeah, Pastrana dang near got killed. Dave Arnold, who was a super nice guy from Canada, he about snapped both his hands off. You remember how they had? You remember that was the first year for the steel ramp. No, it was the second year for the steel ramps, but they were still kind of getting them figured out.
The guy Mickey Diamond who designed them was pretty much a freestyle rider. Every time I hit those fucking things, I was scared for my life.
They were sketchy. And the one that they had there, remember, like, they had a tight little chicane right after I don't know if it was right before the finish line, but then you high gear up this hill.
Uphill.
To hit a ramp that
uphill.
that you barely had to hit with any speed, and there was people eating shit on
after that. Yeah, we didn't pull some video. We had video of all the old school shit of Colorado, of Travis almost getting his neck. We will share that, but we got
dude, that would have popped his head off like a bottle cap,
like a zit.
So that was, I think that was was that the first round of 04?
Something like that.
Yeah.
It was the next year we went really hard.
Yeah.
And that was when
I never should have moved to California.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're with Mark Burkhart, maybe. Yep. And we had me and Nicky Daniels was on them Hondas. I had Nick's old race bike, built motor by Woody Kyle, and it was fast as fuck. My best year I ever had was 450s.
Was it that? Would have been that year then, 04?
It'd have been after the Colorado year.
Okay, so
we did that year. Did you get hurt?
No, I just rode like shit all year.
Oh yeah.
But
we were living life. What a lot of people don't understand, you're like pro, or you're like privateer pro on a,
you're either the pro that eats right, works out, takes care of himself, or you were pros like us. Slightly hungover morning of, maybe not. And
my pro career was just, it was right after mom and dad, and I was just, it was wild. It was good though.
Yeah.
We're normal, but it was just like, having the hottest stripper from Jaguar hanging out with you was just like, it was no big deal or nothing,
You know what I heard? So I remember a couple of moments from, dude, how many times we go there? Like 5 times? But anyway.
Enough I can get a girlfriend.
Yeah, I remember like the one chick, she just camped out on your lap, and I wasn't sure how, things operated, but basically we learned that if there's a chick talking to you or doing whatever during a song, it's like $20 a song. So this chick just sat on you.
I didn't pay her
for.
The only money she got was the tip from when we ordered drinks.
Oh. That's another funny story. Okay, so that was the end of 03. We're talking about 04, which fucking it sucked. I hated 04. So then 05. So I moved back, and got hooked up with Scott Fisher, who was in Ponca City, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And at this point, they had started with a 250 class.
Yep.
So I was in the 250 class. Did you ride the 250 class that year, or were you in the open class?
I think I was on
In
450s.
the 450 class?
Yeah.
And then was Nick in? No, Nick was in the open class the next year.
Because that was our umbrella girl year. Right?
When you mean when Ann was helping?
Yeah.
That was 04. I had the pink and black
Yeah.
leathers. So yeah, 05. So I was in the 250 class on a Honda, and I remember the first round was at oh crap, I can't remember the name of that track now.
Are you talking about the
Road America.
Okay.
Road America.
Oh, yeah,
up
I
in
remember.
Wisconsin. And it
Fuck, I had a good trip.
dude, and so it started raining. It started off dry.
Did you get 2 podiums?
No, I got a bunch of like.
What'd you get, Road America?
I got a podium, but we only had one
What'd
race.
you get down at the amphitheater?
Oh, 7th.
Oh.
Like in 2007 or 8, whatever year that
Our
was.
last year.
Yeah,
last
I think
year,
it was 07.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Maybe it was 08. No. But we'll figure it out. So yeah. So, and that was always kind of my strong point. Like, if it started off one way or the other, whether it started off wet or started off dry, like I felt like I could adapt faster. But then the faster guys would adapt, and then it was pretty much all over. So it started to rain, and I remember we were trying to decide, because it kind of started to dry out a little bit for my main, and like this little skinny dry line started to pop up, and we were running rains. Like the weekend started off totally dry. We're on slicks, everything was good. Then it rained its ass off, so then we're all on rains. And then it started to get that dry line right before my race, and I was talking to Nick. I'm like, dude, because the rain tires, if they were terrible on dry, like they blister up and get slick. So I was talking to Nick, and I was like, man, what do you think? And he's, sitting there, and he's not saying anything. And after a couple minutes, I was like, what do you think? He's like, shut up, I'm trying to figure this out. So anyway, ran a rain front and a regular slick, but then he cut it up a little bit, grooved it, and went from I qualified like 5th, and then passed KCRO in the last turn of the last lap for the only podium.
That's good. I remember. It's a good race.
It was
But
fun.
fucking podium, man.
Yeah,
It's still
got
fucking
a lot of. Never got like a 4th, but I got like a lot of 5ths through 10ths in my career.
I got a lot of 20s, a lot of 18ths, and I got like 2. The race up in fucking, not Detroit, everybody was there. McGrath, Doug Henry, Kerry Hart. Remember that weekend?
No.
Up there in Lake Michigan or something. A big old
So McGrath only raced in 03. But if Henry was there, it would have had to have been
And Burkhart and Jurgen Kunzel and Jessica Patterson and Michelle DeSalvo. Kyle
what
was
year
there.
was it?
I don't know. I was on Hondas. Kyle was on a Kawasaki. And I think you're riding. Nick was riding. Oh, that's the year. That's that year. Well, as in LA. Because Nick rode for that one guy.
Did he have the Husky that blew up all the time? Stormy. So that would have been 07. That was 07.
That's wild. That's wild year. Oh, man.
All right,
Yeah.
so Supermoto came to an end for us about '07. I think that was my last year.
Yeah. It was a good run. All the awesome pros. And we'll touch base on other stuff. That was just like a variety of
Just a little smattering of info.
yeah, Steve Drew, Josh Chisholm, a lot of other really, good friends and cool people, and kind of had it made for a little while. Shit was cooler than cooler could be.
Yep. Yeah, so then, did you do any riding or anything in '08?
Man, what? I'm trying to think of what I even rode. Where did we go?
I didn't ride at all in '08. I was just a big old sad sack. Like, I didn't do anything. I thought because Supermoto was over that I had nothing left.
I mean, we had got, now, okay, I see. Well, probably gonna have to talk about another time because
All right.
of the strippers, the suicide door Lincoln on 20s. They tried taking our lives a few times. The twin pipe Honda. That was the last years of Supermoto.
Gotcha.
Because remember that one chick, she drank like fucking 9 energy drinks and had a nervous breakdown. Everybody got to go party and I got to babysit
I don't remember that. I thought you were talking about the one chick that we gave a ride home from Las Vegas.
No, we can talk about that later. Oh. Hey man, that was brutal. But we spent a couple of years just traveling to motocross every fucking weekend. Right when Monster Mountain first opened,
Yep.
we were fucking gangsters splitting. We had no money and the fucker made me eat rice cakes and we split a dinner salad. Hey, fuck you, all you training facility pussies. Oh.
It reminds me of when we went to the first round. I think it was the first round of Supercross in 2010.
Well, yeah, when we worked for James Stewart.
Yeah, yep. And we
y'all don't know this, but we worked for James Stewart and for another company and worked with we got to work with Davey Coombs and Jason fucking
it's not ringing a bell.
Lawrence. Jason.
Oh yeah.
Jason Lawrence, 338. Man, we got stories about that shit too. But Stewart's, their family and everything is top notch, man. They're the best.
That was the trip where, again, we were broke. So you bought one of those gigantic boxes of assorted nuts in the tube, and all we did was eat
peanuts
and almonds and
there were honey roasted
cashews.
Fantastic.
And then I think we did treat ourselves at one restaurant. We split some chips and salsa, like not even nachos, just pretty much the free chips and salsa.
Yeah, that was the beginning of Rogue Magazine too, and we met those dude Serious Pimps.
Yeah,
we met them in L.A.
Yep. Right when we got into town.
Yeah,
that was creepy.
We got a lot of LA stories, and we've been to the ghettos. I mean, nice houses and ghettos, but man, when we had Serious Pimps and they're all about UFC fighting and fighting.
And we ran into Steve Drew just out of the blue at that club.
Yep. And we had to be out clubbing, when you in LA, you probably have 4 clubs a night. And in every club we see somebody we know, and we be like, holy fuck. Remember? We went to that one club and we ran into Jeff Crusher's brother-in-law. I remember seeing that motherfucker too. That's funny. But yeah, hey, we love y'all, and like, subscribe, and do all that weird shit they like to do. But yeah, you'll find us, and we'll have another episode out soon. And what do you think, Matt?
About what?
About just wrapping up.
I dig it.
He did.
I think we had a good, productive talk. Get some, interest.
Get some info out there and let them see what's happening. And yeah, it's going to be good. We're going to be touching base back to you constantly. So, like we said, please like, subscribe, and whatever the fuck. And this is for entertainment purposes only.